Good morning. It's December 9th, and I am struggling with the vlog for December 5, 6, 7, 8 that I meant to upload last night, but I had issues with my internet speed last night and it didn't get done. And then I kind of woke up this morning at 7:30, even though we were planning on sleeping in today, and my brain latched on to the idea that I didn't finish what I said I was going to finish, and I couldn't sleep anymore. So, three cheers for anxiety. I just got up and made a cup of coffee. I'm going to finish it and finish all the what little work I have left on this vlog this morning, and then get that exporting and uploading and everything. And once I wrap this up, we will dig into the Advent for the day. Hi, I still haven't gotten dressed. I just finished editing. I do feel glad that I got it done. I'm happy I got it done this early and it's exporting because it ended up being a little longer. I think the export and the upload are going to take a while. I think we have another mini today, which I feel like I need it today. It's 8 a.m. and I'm already like struggling. Oh, they go so well together. Dusty grape color. Again, let's do the whole crew. This one's today's. I suppose I'm going to sit and knit until the rest of my family wakes up. Because I wouldn't want to go back upstairs and disturb them by getting ready. I should knit. We just got back from lunch and visiting with family, and look who was waiting. Finally decided to show up to the party. The last ball that I may or may not need. I probably will, but I actually still have half a ball of this color left, and I'm pretty close to the end of the blanket now. So it's time for a little progress update about my ongoing gift knits. First of all, the Uno sweater, I've got most of one sleeve now. I did work on this a lot yesterday while we were visiting with family. This morning while we were visiting, I worked on the temperature blanket, and I did do 7 rows this morning, kind of inadvertently. I was just working on it before they got here, and then while we were talking and before I knew it, I had actually done like a whole chunk. I'm a full week into August. I have less than a month's worth of rows left to do, which is so exciting. The end is in sight. And it is also for this one. My goals are starting to feel a little attainable. We did go out to eat for lunch today. So I brought the snowfall sweater scarf. So I worked on that while we were in the car and while we were in the restaurant. I got about a dozen rows done as ever. That one never seems to have significant progress in one day, but over time I am truly very effective at chipping away at it because I end up taking that whenever we go for short trips, and it's so easy to squeeze a row in because the rows are so short. So I'm really moving along on these. I'm super excited because I'm beginning to see the finished objects take shape. I'm getting closer and closer to having the 2 largest gift knits done, and that means I might even be able, knock on wood, oh my god, but I might even be able to kind of slide into working on the other gift knits a day or 2 earlier than I had originally thought, which would be just amazing to actually get a little bit ahead of my rigorous, barely realistic schedule. So I don't know, I might leave it here for today. It looks like family has gone back to the hotel for the night, so we are just going to be having a cozy night in and having leftovers for dinner and catching up on the many YouTube videos that we've missed over these last couple busy days. So I might leave you here. I might check in later if there's something worth saying, But if not, I'll see you tomorrow. I actually got so much done last night. I did a lot on the temperature blanket yesterday. I think I mentioned yesterday. I did my 7 rows like in the morning, which never happens. So I felt very comfortable just like moving on to other things during the day. While we were out and about, I did a bunch of rows on the snowfall sweater scarf. And then once we came home, I'm almost done with the sleeve. I mean, like almost done might be an exaggeration, but I'm on the ribbing. There's just like very long ribbed cuffs on this sweater. So it calls for over 4 inches of ribbing at the end. And these are 3mm needles. But I'm like halfway there. I've got like 2 inches, and I did probably this much of the sleeves last night, maybe more. I don't know. I didn't use a progress marker. This is just me making stuff up. I did do a large portion of the stockinette decrease section last night and then do all of the ribbing. And it made me so confident, and I was so happy that I've just like accomplished so much on both of the big deadline projects, but also a smaller one. And I was like, I think I can have permission to take a couple hours to take a break and make something fun. Since I put that little table in my office, I wanted to make a coaster to put on it because I never found a coaster when we were out shopping because they're all sets of like 4 and I don't need 4 coasters. So I just made this little guy. I don't remember what the pattern is called. I made it out of Annie's acrylic. I don't know. It's just something I inherited in like a lot of yarns. It's soft for acrylic and it's this nice sage green. And I made the coaster and I was like, wouldn't it be nice if I could just use up this yarn though? Because I'm not going to find another use for it. There's such a small quantity. And I ended up just upsizing it and I made this very large coaster. I used the same pattern. I just kept extending it farther before I did the border. And I figured I can use this as like a mat for one of the plants in my office. So those will match. And then I still had yarn left. So I kind of improvised this weird little like cuff to go over the bottom of a plant pot. And in my brain, it'll look okay once it's stretched out. It's very wonky looking now. I think it might look cute. I don't know if it'll fit any of the pots I have in my office. I guess we'll just have to see what happens on Monday. But yeah. It was a nice little break for my hands, for my brain too, to just, think about something different and work with different materials and different size tools. It just feels good to have variety. All right, let's do my advent for the day. We're on day 10. It's already December 10th. Another purple that probably looks the same out of context, but I bet it's not. Get the band back together. Just too pretty. And tomorrow is not a mini, I can tell. Let's find a comfier seat to talk about my plans for the day. So Josh is going to go with his parents to go visit some family today. I am going to hang back so I can get stuff done here. So that's going to mean, first of all, that I don't have to get dressed today, which is always a plus. And also that I can continue working on the projects that are mentally straining me, thinking I'm not going to get them done on time. I'm going to get cozy, work on the temperature blanket until I feel that I've done enough to warrant switching over to the Uno sweater. I am starting to juggle those priorities and try to figure out which it's most prudent to finish first, because I've been trying to finish them kind of at the same rate, thinking, well, they just need to be done by Friday, but I probably should block the Uno sweater, which means it should be done way sooner. Maybe I should be starting with that because theoretically, the blanket doesn't have to be done before this weekend. It just has to be done enough to start blocking before I leave, which means I can literally finish it on Thursday night as long as I can start blocking it on Friday. But the sweater should be done blocking by Friday. I think I have to go with that. All right, while everyone is out, I want to get comfy here and maybe we can do a little knit and chat and do some of the questions. Olive's question is, why don't you pay attention to me every minute of every day? Hi. So while we chat, I'm going to work on the snowfall sweater scarf a little bit because it's not totally mindless, but it's the most autopilot whip I have right now. The first question I have is from Helen Knits Love. And she asked, I'm just curious if you have in mind for your dream project makes for 2024. I don't know about dream makes. I'm a little too spontaneous of a knitter for dream makes. I don't have any like huge grandiose plans, but it's always kind of the things that are most on my mind are the things that usually the acquisitions I've made most recently are the yarn I'm most excited about, because I am the type of person that more often chooses the project to suit the yarn as opposed to choosing yarn to suit the project. You could probably tell that based on my stash. I've lately been thinking a lot about the Sweet Shop blanket, especially because of my Advent, and I might want to use those for that project. And I've never knitted a large blanket. I'm working on this Tunisian crochet one. I've done several like crochet afghans, but I've never knitted a large blanket, which is, I mean, crochet is faster, but knitting is like my fallback. Knitting is what I actually enjoy doing, and I feel like I always get tired of making the crochet one. I'd probably get tired of knitted ones too. It looks interesting. The modular nature of it without seaming appeals to me, and I really like how the finished product looks. So the Sweet Shop blanket is on my mind. I also found a really cool shawl pattern. So like I said, I tend to choose the projects to suit the yarn, and I've had this pretty yarn bundle that I got in my stash since Rhinebeck of last year from Jagger Spun Yarns, and the colors are so pretty. And this colorwork shawl was recently released that I was like, it's a little bit perfect. I believe it is 6 50-gram skeins of sport weight yarn. The set is called Gravel and Gold, and it's these very like rich grayish blue, like cool gray tones, and then a couple like pretty mustardy gold tones. And I love this set so much. But sport weight patterns don't come along very often, and I've kind of struggled to find something that that requires this many colors that would showcase these colors. And this is one of those yarns that's been in my stash for a good long time now, and I think about it a lot, but I've never found the right pattern. And this one was just released in November, so very recently. It's called the Artist Shawl, and it actually calls for sport weight yarn, which is perfect. And I believe I have the quantities I need in order to complete it. I think it's just perfect to showcase these yarns that I have and I've been waiting to use. So like, I guess that one's at the forefront of my mind. Of course, I've got like a dozen sweaters that I'm thinking about making, but mostly I'm thinking about the yarns that I have and what I can do with the yarns. This is the only pairing that I've got that I definitely want to make. I definitely want to do the Artist Shawl in that Jagger Spun set, which I'm very excited to be able to do. Abataba asks, when you are gifted yarn or fiber, do you feel pressure to use it right away to prove appreciation to the person who gifted it? I guess not really. No, I don't. First of all, I don't get gifted fiber very often. The only yarn I've ever really been gifted from people is my mom tends to pick out yarns for me for like my birthday or the holidays, and she so far has only picked out like packs from Hobie. She did one year get me like a lot of cotton yarns, and I used a lot of it actually, and they're nice, but she got me such huge quantities. It's funny because my mom knows how to knit, but she's not like a knitter. She doesn't have quite enough experience to be able to like look at a package of yarn and like gauge whether that's a reasonable quantity for something. So she got me, I want to say like 3 or 4 10 packs of those fingering weight. I'll put a picture. She gave me a huge amount. I have made several things with them actually. And then the only other person that I think has really gifted me yarn is my husband. And he wouldn't know whether or not he would recognize that I used what he gave me or not. He wouldn't notice if it sat in my stash for 10 years or if I used it after 10 minutes. So I guess it's not something I really thought about. I think maybe if I was gifted yarn by a yarny person, probably, because they would know, right? Like I feel like I would be enthusiastic about it at first and want to demonstrate that appreciation. I've kind of felt that way about patterns. I guess a couple times viewers have like gone into my Ravelry wish list and purchased patterns for me from my wish list. And I did feel guilty about like accepting those patterns and then like sitting on them for a year and not casting on that project right away because they bought it for me. So I don't think that guilt was justified, but regardless, I felt it. Okay, so Jules E wanted to clarify because I talked about loving vintage nylon needles in the last one, and she wanted to know, but what brands or sets do you like best otherwise? So, like I said, I do use these most of the time just because I prefer the texture of them. For larger circumferences, I have the Knitter's Pride Ginger set, which is wooden needles. I have another set of wooden needles. I think it might also be from Knitter's Pride. For smaller circumference, I usually end up using it for like necklines or for sleeves on larger gauge projects, but that set doesn't go very small with the needles. So for when I need quite small, I have a Chowgu Shorties set, the red one, which is the smallest needle sizes, I think. I don't have the blue or the yellow one, even though I would like to acquire them at some point. I definitely prefer to knit in the round as opposed to like magic loop or DPNs. So I mostly only use the interchangeables for things like that, for sleeves and necklines and stuff. For the body of things, I'm almost always using the nylon ones. Nancy Willick asked how you came up with your podcast name. It's silly. It was one of those things like I wanted to get started. I had this idea and I had started filming the video when I redid my craft room, and I had all this footage and I like had to get going and generate my channel and start going. So I did spend a while thinking about it, but it's so hard when you have no starting point. What I was thinking about at the time was what differentiates my content from a lot of the YouTube podcasters is that I'm not selling anything. I don't dye yarns. I don't write patterns. I'm not a designer. It's truly just like, I want to talk to you about my knitting because I don't have anybody to talk to about my knitting. So I was thinking like, I'm not generating patterns. I'm not generating original knitting. I'm just generating content about my knitting procedures in my life. So I only copy what other people did. I mean, I pay for it. I'm not plagiarizing it. It's kind of just poking fun at myself because I'm not a designer and I'm just going with the flow and like making other people's patterns and enjoying it as I do. Sheila W asked, where did you get your yellow corduroy bag that I had on the table? It may even be in the shot now because it's my Uno sweater project bag. I got that in episode 1 of Vlogmas. I got it at Nitty Gritty Yarns. And I don't know. I'm sorry, Sheila. I sent them a message asking where it came from, and they didn't respond. So, I mean, if you call the store, they might be able to tell you, or they might ship it. Also, would like to know about your lap pillow, please. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that might also be visible in shot, which is not very aesthetic. I kind of hide it when I'm not using it. But that one is a Valari pillow. It's meant for like video gaming. And what's nice about it is it's got like a buckle that is meant to buckle at your back. So it's basically like an inner tube pillow. And it tapers around the side so that there's no pillow behind your back, but there's pillow under your elbows and on your lap for you to lean on. And it helps to retain more ergonomic positioning for your arms when you're, video gaming or knitting or crocheting. And I think the company has recently realized that there is value because they've begun advertising to knitters and crocheters recently, even though it was invented for people holding a video game controller. I do really like it. I find that for extended periods of time, it does help me maintain slightly better posture and certainly better arm position. But I would recommend it, and it does help because I do spend so much of my time knitting. I think it's a worthwhile investment for somebody like me that truly needs to invest in preventing repetitive motion injuries. Jet V asked, what is the blue sweater? It looks great. That one, thank you. First of all, I love that sweater so much. I made it earlier this year. I think I finished it earlier this year. If you have thoughts about any of my projects, the patterns, the yarns I'm using, I do keep close track on Ravelry. If you look on my Ravelry profile, I do keep a lot of information there. It's not always 100% up to date, but I do try my best to keep it up to date. The Abstract Rose pattern is a Drops Design free pattern for the sweater, and I used Hobie Diablo paired with Sorella Yarn DK. I had a lot of fun making that one. It's really, really comfy. I love the texture, and I love the sort of textured yoke shoulder situation, but then it turns into stockinette at the bottom, so you don't have to focus forever. By the time you're starting to lose interest in the project, it turns into stockinette, and then it's easy. So it was a well-paced pattern, in my opinion. And it's one of my favorite knits that I've ever made. Sharon Rorig said, I really like the gray sweater you're wearing. I don't remember what I was wearing. I know the blue one. I have to open the video and scrub through it and see if I can find out what sweater I was wearing. Hold on. Oh, I think she's asking about the same one because I don't wear a gray sweater in the video other than that one. It is a very bluish gray. So actually when I bought the yarn, I thought it was more blue. And then when the Sorella yarn came, it was very gray. And even though it was beautiful, I was kind of disappointed because the photos made it look more blue and I had kind of hoped for this very pale blue yarn. So I bought the blue mohair to blend with it and make it more of a bluish gray. So she must have been asking about the same one. So Sharon, same answer. It's the Abstract Rose sweater, and all of the more specific details are on my Ravelry page. Oh, Rainy coming in with a lot of questions. How do you make sure you have a good posture when knitting? Oh my God, I don't. I have terrible posture. I mean, I try, and that Volare pillow does help, especially with the buckle. The spot it's at on your back does kind of encourage you to sit up straight a little. But overall, I don't. I have bad posture and I'm not great about it. And every time I think of it, I kind of try to set up, but you can't think about it forever. And then, I do my best, but I'm not very good at it. What is your favorite Christmas film? I love The Family Stone. It's just so funny and cringy, and it's such a pure portrayal of how families actually are. Every year when I am putting up my Christmas decorations, which I kind of touched on in the last question section, I put up my Christmas decorations the Saturday after Halloween every year. I've accrued more and more in the last couple of years, and it's actually grown to take up a day or two. I don't get it all done in one day, but my tradition has always been to watch the same 3 movies in a row as I'm doing so, and I watch White Christmas, and then I watch Love Actually, and then I watch The Family Stone. And usually by the time I get to The Family Stone, I'm decorating the Christmas tree, so I'm closer to the TV, because while White Christmas and Love Actually are on, I'm kind of not even seeing much of the movie because I'm flitting around the house doing all sorts of stuff in other rooms. But I always try to actually watch The Family Stone and be in the room while it's playing, because it's a very good movie with a lot of really great talent, and it's just such an authentic movie about how family is in real life and the value that those relationships have. Rainey also asked, have you dabbled with your knitting machine yet, and what make is it? Oh, I have. I know I introduced it earlier this year, I guess, and then it disappeared. And that's because I filmed most of a video, but I got really frustrated and then I got carried away and I never finished the project. that I started with it, and then I felt like I couldn't finish the video about it because I didn't finish the project, and it snowballed into this giant stressful situation that I eventually just had to back away from and say, maybe I'll come back to this later, because it became too much. Basically, I started out thinking, I'm just going to see how much I can do on a knitting machine in a long weekend. I've never used one before. This will be a nice little experiment video. I have a 3-day weekend because it was Martin Luther King weekend, so that's how long ago it was. And I said, I'm going to see how many finished objects I can make in a 3-day weekend on this machine. But I was also learning the machine, which made it too hard. And I made a bunch of hats. I got the hang of the circular knitting really quick. I made some beanies and other little things that you could make on the circular function. And then when I tried to switch over to the panel knitting function so that I could try to make panels of things to seam together, all hell broke loose and I couldn't handle it. I didn't do well. It went terribly. I got really frustrated. All my momentum came to a screeching halt and I never got it. I tried and tried and tried, and I tried different yarns and different tensions and changing everything I could possibly think of. It didn't work. I got angry. It became not worth it to me anymore. So it's been in the back of my mind that it's a project and a video that I can resurrect next year if I get to that point, which I hope it will. So it's possible during the winter or in the new year that I'll have more time to dip my toe back into that and maybe give it another try. I have used the knitting machine for a couple small projects since. It's not like I completely gave up on it, but it stopped being so exciting when it hurt my feelings so much, basically. And we'll see what happens. Katie J asked, do you ever just knit something making it up as you go, or do you always use patterns? I do improvise occasionally, but usually not with very large things. Sometimes with something like a blanket, I can improvise that. I can look up a stitch pattern and run with that. And I have no issue doing that, or like a scarf again. But if it's something that needs to fit a person, I don't usually improvise that because I just don't want to deal with the fallout when I'm wrong. That's why I'm the copycat stitch, right? Like I like to enjoy my knitting, and I don't need the added work of being the creator of the idea. Like I'm plenty happy to just use a pattern and enjoy all the hard work that somebody else already put into it. All right, I think that's all the questions I have for now. I got a few rows in on my snowfall sweater scarf, which is the only reason it's progressed at all, because I have little conversations or car rides like this where I sneak a few rows in between other things. Other than that, I have been working on the Uno sweater all morning because, like I said, I kind of realized that I should probably block it. And if I'm going to block it, I kind of have to start blocking it no later than Tuesday in order for it to dry out correctly and fully before I wrap it to take it to New York on Friday. So I'm pushing ahead with the Uno sweater, and I'm going to try to get that completely done before I go back to the temperature blanket too much. That said, if I get a whole lot done in one day and I feel like working on the temperature blanket, I can, but I'm actually at a point with the temperature blanket where it's not totally unreasonable for me to finish it up in 2 or 3 days because I only have about 23 or 22 days left on it. So the priority has become the Uno sweater. I'm literally like 2 rounds away from finishing the ribbing on the one sleeve, and I didn't read ahead yet, but the hem had a tubular bind off, so this one might also have the setup rows and tubular bind off to go with it, and then I'll pick up stitches for the other sleeve and get going. And that's the easy part. That's a bigger gauge. It's just stockinette with occasional decreases that are very easy to keep track of. I have so far been really enjoying the Uno sweater pattern, and I absolutely recommend it. I think it's coming out so classy and polished and pretty, and it's definitely intermediate. It's not a beginner pattern, but I love the details, and it is easy to autopilot through. I'm really loving it, and truly it might be my first selfish cast on after I finish my gift knitting, because thinking about that hand-dyed mohair I got and the yarn I bought at Nitty Gritty to go with it, and it would make gauge for this project, and I think that would be really pretty for me to have, and I kind of want one now. Anyway, I'm going to put the snowfall sweater scarf away. I'm going to go back over to the couch, continue watching Vlogmas videos, which is truly so fun. This time of year is just so nice to have new content and get to feel close to all of the content creators that I love, like, every day. It's the best thing. And even though Vlogmas isn't even half over yet, I'm already kind of starting to be sad about the fact that after Christmas, we're going to have to go back to like the content drought of January, which I'm not ready for. I'm loving the Christmas season and getting to feel close to everybody all the time. So go do that, work on my Uno sweater, watch my cozy Vlogmas videos, and Josh and his parents should be back later today, and I think we're going to get pizza tonight and just hang out. I screwed up. I just finished the 4+ inches of ribbing on this Uno sweater. And then I noticed that it's supposed to be 2x2 rib, not 1x1 rib. And I just autopilot did 1x1 rib without reading the pattern closely enough. But the ribbing is such a feature of this. Like, look how nice the 2x2 looks on the hem. I've got to redo it. I hate it. That's like that. It's such a feature. I was doing so well. Ugh. It's like the first setback I've had all Vlogmas, though. That's probably a good thing. Knock on wood. Oh well. I'll frog this. So that was a 6-hour mistake. Finished. We have sleeve with 2x2 rib. Bind off done. But redoing the rib took most of the day, which bummed me out because I was ready to bind this off at 1:30. And now it's almost 8. Oh well, I'll pick up for the other sleeve. See you tomorrow. So I'm having another rough day. It's Monday, December 11th. I had planned on going into work today, but I woke up and I'm having issues with my neck. I have chronic neck and shoulder pain. I have established it with my doctor. Like, I understand what the issue is, but it's just one of those things when it flares up and causes a problem, I just have to try to take it easy and take the medicines I've been prescribed and ride it out. It's not that bad today. There have been days when it's truly so bad that I can't like move my head. Not where we're at. It just hurts. So I'm working from home. I'm not happy about it. I'm bummed because I had planned to get more done today at work, but I can do what I can from here for as long as I can and just have to deal with it. But we can do my Advent. I'm excited to start the other one. I'm really glad that I left it for mid-month because I've been looking forward to it, and it's more fun that I'm going to have 2 until Christmas rather than being done with 1 around now and then just going from 2 to 1. Okay, day 11. Oh, it's little things. If I had to guess, say like some candy and a sticker. Yep, peppermints, and a cute sticker. Kind of odd. Here, let me show you. Oh, I get it now. I was looking at it sideways. And I was like, why does this yarn have all of these ends? Like, this is weird. This isn't what a skein looks like. It's a parasaur. That's so freaking cute. All right, I love that. Back to work.
As well as intarsia colorwork. So maybe this was a separate ball of that bright pink orange color, and then this was another ball of that bright orange pink color. Any particular reason they did that, I'm not sure, to be honest, because they still had.
So I took a little nap this afternoon. I worked a while from home, but I always struggle on days when my neck bothers me. I have this especially frustrating struggle because the medication that they gave me to help with my neck, that actually does help, makes me so sleepy. So even though I'm able to use a little sick time and rest, it's not like great for a stiff neck to lay down on the couch in the middle of the day, but also it's too much and I can't stay awake. I feel less sleepy now, but also just no more comfortable than I was. I've been excited for this package to come. I've been waiting for this. It's a nail polish order from Orly. I bought myself some Christmas nail polishes. Okay, so I got some like decorating tools for free with my purchase. But the things that I picked out were their winter collection this year called "'Twas the Night." I think these two are especially pretty together, but I love the screen too. I also got myself the NASA collection because if you haven't picked up on it yet, I love space and the history of space travel. And they had this series that came out that was just too cool. This one's James Webb Space Telescope. This one's with the Voyager record on it. The Artemis 1. And then there's, I think, Curiosity. What does it say? Perseverance. I had my eye on those for a while, so this is sort of my birthday gift to myself. And this one is just especially Christmassy. Love them. I'll redo my nails with these this week. Oh, they also included a bottle of remover. I did manage to finish the first sleeve last night. I think I filmed enough to demonstrate that. And I've picked up for the second and gotten maybe a quarter of the way through the stockinette section. But of course it gets faster because this is the largest circumference section and there's continual decreases as you go. So it gets narrower and therefore faster as we go. So my goal is to finish this tomorrow. Because if I can finish it tomorrow and get it blocking, then I can spend the rest of the week, the weekday week, focusing on the temperature blanket and getting that done by Friday so I can get that blocking on Friday morning. And we should be all set to finish up the other projects next week. Okay, I got started cooking dinner. I'm gonna make some spaghetti with mushrooms just to carry on with my unintentional spree of not grocery shopping and just trying to use up what food we have in the house, which I think is partially because we're gonna be out of town for 2 weekends and I don't wanna like fill up the fridge when we're gonna be gone so much. So I'm just gonna keep doing this probably the whole month. Anyway, I've made a lot of progress on the sleeve on the Uno sweater and I think if everything continues to go smoothly, I'm on track to actually finish it tomorrow as planned. So I'm gonna finish making dinner, watch my Wheel of Fortune. Josh should be home soon. Have another cozy little evening at home. And I think I'll wrap up this video after 3 days since the questions section probably took up a lot of time in the video already. So thanks for joining me as always, and I can't wait to see you on December 12th.